This is where we hold them. This is where we fight.
You are now listening to Sweep the Rack podcast featuring Brooklyn Rob and Big Mike.
Rob, what's good, homie?
Mike, it's my favorite night of the week. Not only is tomorrow Thursday or Friday, I'm sorry, and I kind of like our new time slot because of that. Like tomorrow's Friday, and it's just like, hey, it's Friday. But you know, it's
I feel
just
like you say that every week.
I do because it's exciting. It's the end of the week for me, not for you because you're still on vacation, but that's coming to an end soon.
1 week left. The 1 week countdown is on. Next Thursday is my first day back to work. No kids. Kids don't come back till Tuesday. But yeah, Thursday, Friday, I got work. But you know what? See, this is how the teaching game works. I go back to work on Thursday, and then I already have a long weekend.
Oh, Labor Day, right?
I got Monday off.
I know. I don't know why don't they just start it after Labor Day? It makes no sense.
I don't know. And then that, you know, it always works out the same way. That next week NFL starts. Right. NFL starts. My daughter's travel soccer season is going to start September 12th. Like she's having her preseason camp right now. So her first game, I think, is on the 12th. So, like, yeah, I have a lot to look forward to. And as I was just telling you, behind the scenes, I will say this publicly. Yo, I'm ready to get some checks again, my dude. I'm ready to get some checks under the belt. Rob was kind of surprised that teachers, you know, a lot of teachers don't get checks during the summer. Like people are unaware of that. Like a lot of teachers do not get checks during the summer. It's up to you to budget your money for the summer. And, you know, listen, as you all know, when you have more, you use more. I think that's true of most things. So, like, when you have more money at the beginning of the summer, it's easier to go through it. You get to the end, you have to tighten things up, etc., you know, but we're good around here, though. But, yeah, I'm looking forward to getting some checks.
Mike, for me, this weekend starts my, like, bowling, like, amateur, like, tournament circuit. Literally.
I know you know. Plus, you have your bowling league, so I'm sure that's starting up in a couple weeks.
Next Tuesday.
So it's funny. It's like when I'm bowling a lot, you don't seem to be, and then when you're really deep into it now, I might be bowling less this winter than I've bowled ever in the last few years. So
come with a good league and tournament review. I mean, hopefully there's a couple of Mr. X's in my league, which I'm sure there will be.
I have league review on here as one of our first things to get to, as always. I know that's what the people come here for, but people, I got to tell you, you might be disappointed because this might be the last league review you hear from me for quite a long time.
I got big shoes to fill. It
might be indeterminate when the next league review will be from Big Mike. And the reason I say that is because, my winter sport league is having trouble with participation numbers. There's a lot of issues at play. I'm not going to get into the specific issues. There's a lot of issues at play, but suffice to say that we're having participation number issues. Right now, I think we have like 17 or 18 people that are committed to bowl the league. Right? It's supposed to be a triples league. So that would only be 6 teams.
Oh.
Yeah, not good, right? So a couple options were make it a doubles with 9 teams, make it a singles with 18 people. Here's what I suggested. And we sent the league sent out a Google form with questions referring to a lot of this stuff, but and we haven't gotten that many results back. But I suggested that we go with something on a more optional basis, right? So my suggestion was to do a draw doubles format for the first half. And this is actually an idea that I got from where me and Bill and Joe grew up. Like we grew up at Levittown. Well, I didn't grow up there. I started bowling there a little bit later, but we all bowled at Levittown Lanes at one point. Shout to Levittown Lanes. It burned down recently. But we all
north
bowled.
or south? North or south?
No. That was New York. You're talking
Oh.
no. You're talking about New York. I'm talking about PA.
Oh,
So
Levittown burned down. That's where Bill. That was his home house. That's where O'Neill grew up.
Yeah, it burned down last year.
Oh,
And this
insurance
was
job. That's an insurance job. No.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I don't think so. Because it had a bar attached to it and everything, and there was another business attached to it. So yeah, and they own the building. So I don't know. I don't know about that. I'd be careful saying that. But when we bowled at Levittown, I don't know how many days a week it would be, or how often, but on a regular basis, a group of guys would show up. Let's say it was like 16 to 20 guys would show up at Levittown Lanes at 3:30, 4:30 in the afternoon, and they would bowl something called pill doubles. Okay, and pill doubles was where you put up. I think it was $6. It was $5 for the pot and $1 for lineage, and you literally drew a numbered pill out of a little bottle, okay? And whatever number you got, you went to that lane. And you would be paired up with someone for one game, for a doubles game. And there would be a doubles pot that you're bowling for, and there would be a singles pot that you were bowling for in the same game. And like the money, the $5 that you put up would be split between, I forget what it was, maybe 4-1 or 3-2 to doubles versus the singles pot. So we used to bowl this, Rob, everybody, like we were junior bowlers, but we were always looking for opportunities to bowl for competitive little money stuff here and there, right? So everybody's talking about Mr. X. Mr. X isn't bowling the league. He ain't coming. His team isn't coming back. You think his team's coming back? Mr. X is somebody that shot 879, okay, before, and truly believes that that's a reflection of his skill level as a bowler, okay. And for folks like that to bowl on the sport conditions, it's too humbling. It's too humbling. You could not be an egotistical person in terms of your bowling accomplishments or ability, and bowl on the tougher stuff, especially if you don't have a lot of experience on it. So okay, back to my story. So what I wanted to do, Rob, is I wanted to take the pill doubles format and make it a league where if you have, let's say, 14 to 16, 14 to 18 regular guys showing up every week, they come in, you pay the lineage to the bowling alley, whatever they want for the 3 games. The rest of the money that you would have put in the envelope goes into a pot. We do 3 games of draw doubles. You randomly draw a partner, you go, you bowl a doubles pot, you bowl a singles pot, right? And it would also be handicap. We were going to base it off of 90% of 215, give everybody their individual handicap. Whoever gets paired up together, that's how many pins they're getting. But here's the key to that. We would be able to invite people in who want to come and check it out. Who hear about it, or they see it, and they want to come. They don't have to commit to 18 weeks. You want to bowl 1 week, bowl 1 week. You want to bowl 2 weeks, bowl 2. If you really like it, you want to bowl every week, you show up every week. And I wanted to try and do this for the first half to try and build, try and recruit some fresh blood into the league, really. Because that's what it needs. Like you can't ask people who have never really experienced that environment before to commit to 18 or 36 weeks at $30 plus a week, I'll say.
No, I agree with that. I agree with that.
$30 plus a week. You can't ask them to commit to 18 or 36 weeks. They want to try it out. Some of them are going to like it, some of them are not. But even if you get 20% of the people who try it to then do it on a regular basis, at least you're growing things a little bit. But yeah, I don't know. I really don't know how it's going to turn out. Personally, I feel like the league's going to fold because nobody's really going to be on the same page with anything. But yeah, we'll see. And I will update everybody as to how things go. I hope that we get an opportunity to bowl. But I don't know. It's tough, man. It's tough to get people out to regularly bowl on the tough conditions. Speaking of which, league review from last night. It was my last night of summer league. I was in first place, and I haven't even mentioned this all summer because I really didn't care, and I was there to practice. And it's has very little bearing to me that this was the case. But I was in first place in the league. So I was in first place going in the last night of the league. I think I was ahead by like a point and a half, 2 points, something like that. But, I knew, okay, I'm going to have to win a couple games at least to secure first place for the league. It was something that I didn't want to go in and just choke and give it away. Come out the first game, terrible. Totally played them wrong. 160. But I won the game. Second game, even worse. Every decision I made was wrong. 140, I think. 140 something the second game. Terrible. Lost that game. Now I was a little bit in danger because if I lose the next game, then I'm going into the last game, going into the fourth game with the possibility that I have to win the game to stay in first place. So at the end of the second game, I kind of figured out that, and I was looking around watching some people who occasionally were throwing a few in a row and having success. And what I noticed was everyone was very under it. Everyone was very under the ball. And I was not being very up the back of the ball. I was being very off the side of the ball. And in the end of the second game, I really threw a couple shots that I was dead under it, and yeah, they looked really good. So I went to the next pair and stuck with that. And yeah, the last two games, I was right. I figured them out, and I shot 235 with a missed single pin and 235, 232 the last two, I think it was, and both games had a missed single pin. So yeah, wrapped up the league for the summer. It was a good league. I enjoyed bowling the league because it was I won. I enjoyed bowling the league because it was a relaxed environment. And it was really just an opportunity to go in, practice, get some light competition in. And it was good. The conditions ranged from what I would consider somewhat soft to extremely challenging. Last night we bowled on Autobahn, interesting pattern. Definitely challenging, I would say. Not one of the easier ones we bowled on all week or all summer. But I had a good summer. I enjoyed bowling. It was also close to my house, which was beautiful because I drive a long distance to bowl most of the time. So bowling about 12 minutes from my house was wild. So that might be the last league report for a while, folks. I hope not, but it might be. I'm not sure.
Our viewership's going to bottom out now because people come here for your league review and then log
out. I honestly, I don't think we're here for the viewership. I don't think that's why me and you are still doing this. But it might. You're right. I agree with you. That's why the people show up every week. I'm bowling a Greg Tack event this weekend. I'm bowling the New Jersey Sport Bowling Masters Sunday, 2 squads, 9 a.m., 1 p.m. I'm bowling 9 a.m. I don't know. Maybe I'll re-enter. It's my wife's birthday on Sunday.
So you got a bowl.
I'm pushing it. I'm pushing it. Even bowling the 9 a.m. squad, but I figured, well, if I bowl 9 a.m. and I make the finals, I can shoot home, do some stuff with the family, then come back, bowl the finals, and then get home and celebrate the wife's birthday.
Yeah, sounds like a plan.
Yeah, because Hal isn't that far from me. So bowling the Greg Tack event this weekend, and we'll see how that goes. But I appreciate everybody's comments in the comments. I'm gonna post some of them while I hand it over to Rob here. Go ahead, Rob.
He posts the comments while I talk. You know what I mean? So
go ahead.
That's how it goes. I mean, I don't really have a whole lot. I mean, I was practicing. I went Tuesday. I'm drilling up 3 or 4 balls. I'm getting ready I'm bowling the USBC Arizona Masters on Sunday. I just saw the roster got put up as about 47 entries. I'm sure there'll be some walk-ins. Some good bowlers like Andrew Kane and Michael Haugen are bowling. So, it'll be fun just to warm up. Mike's about to cut me off because he's going through his comments because he doesn't listen to a word I say.
Oh, I'm listening to everything you say, son.
So the next tournament, Labor Day, Mike, next weekend, the TAT, 15 grand. I'm driving on Friday morning or Thursday night. If you're going to be out there, let me know. I'll be in Vegas from Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then hopefully bowling Monday. And then the weekend after that is the $10,000 Cactus Open, which is going to be a great tournament. I'm going to have Theo on tonight, who's in our waiting room right now, who actually runs the 10K tournament. But I want to talk to him about what you talked about too, about getting people to bowl patterns, right? And I mean, he has a decent amount, but I'm curious to find out how he started it and how he got the word out, because it's not an easy thing to do because people get frustrated on the pattern events. So I'm going to bring on Theo right now. Nobody wants to hear about me practicing or I'll have my tournament review on Sunday.
Especially at Bolero. No one wants to hear you practice about practice.
No, well, Tuesday I actually went to B3.
Okay, all right. I was going to say you went to B3. You know, tell us about it, but we don't want to hear about Bolero.
Well, the B3 they put out some crazy ass pattern on the string pins. I think I struck one time in like an hour, so I had such a bad practice. But I'm going back Saturday before the tournament to practice again. But I have fall balls getting drilled. I don't want to get into all the stuff I'm drilling because I know it'll piss you off. But got some good stuff. Anyway, I'm bringing on Theo. Theo's the man who runs the tournaments out in my area, the complete bowling events. So essentially, when I moved out to Arizona, I reached out to a couple friends who are scratch bowlers in the area, and I said, okay, give me the lowdown on what tournaments to bowl. The first tournament out of everybody's mouth was the complete bowling event. My man Theo here runs it once a month. He gets a pretty decent turnout for a scratch pattern event. So I'm bringing on Theo right now. Theo, welcome to the show. We appreciate it. We appreciate everything you do for Arizona bowling.
I appreciate all you guys always coming out.
Cool. So
I get a lot of nice comments from people when I make them really hard. So since I'm going to keep a tally mark.
So let me ask you first off, because you're also Theo's a pretty good bowler. Now he won't give himself credit, but Theo's a pretty good bowler in his own right. You just came from the New Mexico Open, which was one of the biggest scratch events out here on the West Coast. I saw you made match play. You made the cut. So tell us about the experience and just bowling the New Mexico Open and what you saw out there.
Yeah, it was fun. Over the summer, well, after COVID and all that, I took like 14 months off from bowling, just ran tournaments, and everybody just kept asking me like, hey, when are you going to bowl? I'm like, I don't have any desire to bowl for the longest time. And then maybe 3 weeks before league, I was like, maybe I should probably throw a ball. We got league coming up. Through 2 games before a summer league, I was running 1 week, and then the next week through 2 more games and was like, yeah, let's go bowl the King of the Hill. I think you know about King of the Hill over at Union. And after 14 months off, 4 games under my belt, I think I qualified second the first round and led the second round. And then I ran out of gas. 4 games was a lot. But yeah, I just started getting the itch again, probably about halfway through the year. And I reached out to Steve. I was like, you can count me in. I'll definitely be at New Mexico. Because I like when they're hard. That's how I always grew up. I didn't like having to go strike at will. I can't out carry somebody that can throw an 8-bagger every game. So I'd rather have it be a spare contest. And that's kind of my philosophy with the tournaments too. So New Mexico it plays my A game, where you just got to grind and, pop a couple good games and then get all your spares. And out in New Mexico, I think through the first 6 games, I had 1 miss makeable. I got lucky, started with 250, 250. So after that, it was just kind of on cruise control and, manage the rest of the day. And that's right. I went 250, 250. Then I caught a bad pair, shot 160. But in that kind of tournament, when you're still 80, 70, 80 over, you can't panic because you're still just in a managed position. Sunday was fun though. I got a little bit of a gauntlet for my matches. I caught Jake Peters first. Luckily, he didn't have a good look. Then I caught Maria Jose Rodriguez, another solid player. And then the third match, I saw what all the righties talk about when they bowl against a lefty that just has that much room. I bowled a lefty, and I did not have what he had on that pair because he had room. He had probably 7 boards, and his miss was wrap 7. And I'm like, cool, my miss is a bucket.
Oh, he felt the pain of the righties. You should have saw. Oh my God,
felt every
he felt
bit
the
of
pain
it.
of the righty as a lefty. A little bit of medicine there, if you take. So
I
okay,
just
so so I mean, look, like that's a great. You had a great tournament for somebody who doesn't bowl and considers himself a more of a tournament director than a bowler. But I think we need more of that. And a time we have Greg Tack on, who runs all the scratch hard tournaments out in Big Mike's area in New Jersey, and he's a bowler too, and he loves the tough stuff. And that tournament is very successful too. So I see the common trend here, Mike. Right? Don't you? That you have your bowlers who love bowling on tough patterns, and then they start their own bowling tournaments and they're successful doing it, right? I feel like this is a common denominator here, that's where like it starts, right? It starts with someone like you who loves bowling on tough shots and realizes that the Arizona area where you were here, they didn't have that kind of tournament like presence. So I guess what was your idea to how to start it, and like what was how long have you been running it?
So the whole idea behind it started with every year, me and Matt Jones would travel back and forth to New Mexico. And that was actually kind of where the idea started. Every year, we would be driving back. And then one year I finally just said to Matt, I'm like, dude, why the hell don't we have something like this in Arizona? Like we have, you've seen it. We have a ton of talent out here. I mean, we had 87 entries a couple weeks ago, which, by the way, Big Mike, I didn't get to call him his nickname because he missed finals by 5 sticks.
He told us.
You still were able to announce it, though. You did. You did. During the caching, he says Rob Golden Shoes per shot, and I was just like, I love it.
You should. The next event he bowls, you should switch it to Rob Patch Pirate Pirashad. Please at my asking, please.
Done.
Thank you.
So you're driving back and you decide that okay, you're going to start a tournament. So
yeah,
you get in touch with some of the like proprietors in the area, like that run around R.H. Johnson, and
so we started off. We used to have a bowling center out here called AMF Deer Valley. It's closed now. I was running a scratch league there in the summers, and then it was a draft league, which draft leagues are not popular anymore, unfortunately. But at least in this area, they're not. And I mentioned the idea to Craig Spencer, which I'm sure everybody knows Craig. And I said, dude, how do you put together a tournament like this? And he said, dude, first build your brand, create a name, come up with a name. So I came up with a name, and we started doing little 7-gamers. I had Jacob Buttriff helping me promote because, I mean, my bubble is this, his bubble is much bigger. So
influencer.
He knows everybody.
Yep.
So he's kind of my partner behind the shadows that helps promote things. And our first tournament, I think we had almost 60 bowlers, and it was at Deer Valley. And from there on out, I tried to follow the formula that I learned growing up, and seeing what I like about tournaments, like what makes them successful, and just try to keep following that. I mean, I was lucky enough to bowl JBT with, Jeff Hemer running everything, and he did a phenomenal job. So basically just said, okay, what does Jeff do? That's what I need to do for our adult tournaments out here. And, fortunately we've been pretty successful. And
it's to me like, though, what you do the best, and I've bowled around the country, right? I bowled tournaments all over, is your price point is spot on, right? It is spot on. It's like $70 or maybe $80, and that includes the pots, and the timing of it is perfect, right? It's usually a Sunday morning. It's at 9 a.m. You're only usually in the center latest if you make the finals to maybe like 2 p.m. and then you're home, right? So you're able to go bowl tournament, bowl 7, 8, 9 games on a tough pattern. You're not in for $200-$300, and you're only out of the bowling center you're not in the bowling center all weekend, essentially, right? Like something, if you were to bowl a regional, you have to bowl Saturday, and then you have to come back Sunday. So I think you have everything really spot on. The shots, the way the crosses, the pots, the brackets, it works. And keep doing it. And I keep saying it, like, it's run great. There's no It's, it's a lot of good bowlers come out on the area. You're normally getting 50, 60, 70 entries. Mike, it sounds a lot like what TAC does, right? Out of New Jersey, right? Essentially, it's the same type of like tournament, no?
Yeah, well, the key, I mean, the commonality between both events, the main one to me is, that you're not charging people an arm and a leg to bowl, right? And like, if you're going to make them tough, and you want to get decent numbers, which is you're gonna have to draw some people from that non-sport bowling crowd, right? You're gonna have to draw people from the house bowling crowd, so to speak. They're not going to want to put up $200 or $300 because they know that it's likely not going to be a successful investment, right? So I think that the key to getting the numbers is certainly has to do with the price point. But as I was listening to you guys chat, I had a couple questions, and I think you sort of answered one for me, Theo, and what you said about bowling JBTs for out in Arizona when Jeff Hemer was running them. This shows you how old we are. We bowled JBTs with Jeff Hemer. So, yeah, I remember when I first started bowling JBTs, Jeff Hemer was like one of the better bowlers out there. He was a maniac, I remember. He was a complete mental maniac, and he bowled with no thumb. I remember that, so he was extremely ahead of his time in that regard.
No, he didn't. No, he bowled with a thumb.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
No, I don't.
Maybe
I don't agree with you.
Maybe he.
Anytime
switched.
I've seen Jeff, he's got his thumb in the ball.
Well, I remember him as a no thumb guy. So
no, I don't.
Check up with him and let us know. But so one of the questions I want to ask you was like, how old are you? Like, what generation or what were the years that you were coming up in bowling?
I'm 35.
All right, so you're about set. Okay, so yeah, but see, you still came up in an era where a lot of shit was easy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and you know what? What really frustrates me every week with tournaments, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. The big question that I get every single week or the week before is, "Hey, what's the pattern? Are you going to announce the pattern?" It drives me insane because growing up, I'm sure you guys know, like you showed up, you had your benchmark ball, you stood in one spot, you threw the ball and saw what it did and then made an adjustment. Now these guys are like, what's the volume? What's the length? Can you tell me the ratio? I'm like, just show up and bowl.
You know what I do? I want to know the pattern because I have 25 bowling balls to pick that I gotta bring.
Yeah, no, I gotta say, as a bowler, I disagree with you, Theo, on that. I do, and the reason I'm gonna say that is because it's so fucking hard, bro. It's so hard to figure them out anyway, and like even if you give me all the information, I'm still not gonna figure them out. Even if you say play this part of the lane, use this ball. I'm still not going to figure them out. So, like, I need all the information, bro. I need to know everything.
Maybe it's just me, like, because I'm left-handed, so I just play the gutter on anything. It doesn't matter.
Okay, all right, that's fair.
Just a matter of how much surface am I going to put on the ball.
Yeah, Jimmy in the chat saying Bill O'Neill would agree with Theo. Yeah, I know. Yeah. I know he would. I absolutely know he would. The other question I wanted to ask Theo, and Rob brought up the Greg TAC tournaments that I bowl around here. And at those events, if he has 100 entries, I'm going to say, and some events that I bowled this year did have 100. I'm going to say 30 plus are junior bowlers. Is that true of your events? Is it a large number of junior bowlers that are kind of, boosting the numbers?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Where we see our numbers boost, so when we're out on the west side at our Sun City centers, which is like the retirement community, I hold most of my tournaments out here because I get such cheap lineage, and that's what allows me to have a cheaper entry fee and have a decent payout. Like these guys can pay $70, go out and make $500, $600, depending on how many entries we get. And we get anywhere between 40 and 55, 60 entries every month. But whenever I go out to the East Valley, like Mesa, last month, we had 87 entries. I don't know why, but the guys on the east side don't want to travel out west. We paid out the same, even though we had almost 40 more entries. because
like
my
an
lineage
hour.
was double. My lineage
It's
was
like-
double.
Oh
I'm
my
like,
God.
come on, guys. I could have paid you
Yeah.
probably $1,000 to win. Instead, I'm paying you the same with 30 more entries.
I love how he says people don't want to travel. Mike, it's an hour. It's not even an hour. It's like 45-minute drive. I think it lost Mike, but whatever. I don't need Mike for this interview.
But even better though, Rob, you know how it
I
is.
know.
We have 10 Tucson guys that come out.
It's like, do you not want to travel the extra hour? Dude, if I'm bowling and I'm motivated, I'm gonna bowl, like, and that's just like where it is. I don't really care where it is as long as it's like under a certain distance for me. Like, I mean,
Right.
maybe I might not travel 2 hours, right? Like, just because I don't want to drive and I'm lazy to do that. But okay, so let's talk about this event coming up. This is your first ever complete bowling event, 10K Cactus Scratch Open event, right?
Yeah.
So for the people, it starts on 9/9 with sweepers. I see you're running 3 daytime sweepers. Unfortunately, people like me who work for a living can't bowl a sweeper at noon. I wish I could. Can't do it. But you're running 3 sweepers, correct? Friday.
Yeah.
And then Saturday you're running how many qualifying squads? What's the games? How many?
So Friday is just the little 3-game sweepers. Instead of doing a practice session, I figure we'll do sweepers. That way people can come bowl on the pattern and, see how it plays, but also have a chance to make a little bit of money back. Plus in practice sessions, people tend to play all different parts of the lane. You don't really get a true read of how the pattern's going to play or break down. So that's why we're doing that on Friday. And then Saturday.
So question. So if you don't see, if you run these sweepers on Friday and you see something you don't like, will you think about tweaking it or changing it for Saturday?
Nope. I have no clue about patterns. So
okay, I was just wondering.
Our thought behind it was I actually reached out to Janowitz and he created a pattern. And
good Lord. Oh, Jesus.
I had Mike Dermeyer test it out because he's not bowling. So I figured we'll get a right-hander test it. And then I had Jacob test it. And the thought behind Jacob testing it was if it's too hard for him, it's too hard for the tournament. So I think it's going to be a good pattern. And obviously on anything, as you see, with New Mexico, like you're either going to hit it or not. But there's going to be a lot of guys that are right there about average. And that's the info that I gave. I said, I just want my cut number to be around even each squad and I'll be happy.
See, that's awesome, Mike. I love the fact that he's actually taking the time and getting his patterns tested and he's doing a lot of like work behind the scenes. I mean, it's your first ever and it's a big tournament. It's a lot of money here. So I'm sure there's a lot of people. So how many squads are you running Saturday?
We're running 3 squads, 7 a.m., 12:30, and 6 p.m. And the top 9 off each squad will make Sunday. And then right after the last squad, we're doing a 2-game Desperado. And the top 5 from that will make Sunday. So you'll know on your squad if you made it or not. And I like doing that because I hear a lot of times, people complain about squad equity. Well, here's your squad equity. You picked your own squad. That's who you're bowling against. If you picked a squad that you want to bowl with all your friends, then that was your choice. You guys are going to knock each other out. So
can only bowl one squad?
Yeah, just one squad.
Okay.
Yeah, Mike, I'm bowling the 12:30 squad, FYI, because I didn't want to wake up to bowl at 7 a.m. and the late squad's too late for me because I'm old. So I figured I'm probably going to be bowling the strongest squad of the tournament because everybody probably thinks the way I'm thinking. So I'm whatever. Like at this point, I don't know if I'll stay around and bowl Desperado if I don't make it, but I don't plan on not making it. So, I'll just take my lumps if I miss it. So. And then, so Sunday match play, right? What you got a bracket going on, right? 3-game total.
Yeah, it's a 32-man bracket based on the seeding from each squad. And it's a big complicated thing. That's why they pay me the big bucks. But top 8 will have a 2-round bye. And then.
Thanks, Chris. I appreciate it. Bard's chiming in. I have to always pull that. Sorry, Theo. Go ahead.
So there'll be 8 players that have 2-round bye, and then 9 through 16 will have 1-round bye, and then our first round will be 17 through 32. And they'll bowl the first round, and every round is 3 games total pinfall.
Cool. Great tournament. I'm looking forward to it. That's
Question,
amazing
and I
event.
know I was out for a second because my internet was having an issue here. Where's the money coming from for this tournament? Is it all from entries, or you got sponsors here, or?
No, we've got some sponsors, and we're still reaching out for more sponsors. And I've got a business venture coming up, so I may be throwing some in myself to help promote myself.
What do you do? What do you do in your regular life outside of bowling?
I stare at computers all day, at Excel documents. I'm a lease analyst at PetSmart, so I just stare and save. I try to save money for PetSmart. That's what I do.
Okay.
So,
You look serious. I mean, somebody alluded to the fact that you have a whiteboard behind you, so that automatically makes you serious. So
Yo, you should see his Facebook picture. He's scary at his Facebook picture.
I'm actually at the center that we're bowling at, but we have our league meeting in a little bit, so I had to get here a little early.
Okay.
So I saw Mike Fitzgerald chimed in. So just curious, Theo, is there a 50 and over division for Mike Fitzgerald, or are you?
We have a senior check. Mike might be going after that.
Okay. Yeah, inside joke, folks. Rob misidentified Mike Fitzgerald previously.
Who's actually younger than me, by the way. He's actually younger than me.
Anyway, nice job, Rob.
Dude, I'm getting a haircut Saturday, so I look younger when I bowl next weekend. Anyway, Theo, we appreciate it. I know everybody, at least in Arizona and the bowling competitive scratch bowling world in this area, thanks you for the tournaments you've run. If it wasn't for you, we'd be stuck bowling at Bolero tournaments that are non-existent. It definitely helps guys like me who want to continue to compete, on just even an amateur level on the weekends. If it wasn't for you, we would really have nothing, honestly. So we appreciate it. And throw out some plugs.
Who are the sponsors? I set that up for you to knock it out of the park, and you
I got it.
You just let it slide right by.
We've got Jacqueline Smith. She's a realtor. We also have everybody calls him the grumpy old man, Dennis Brummett. He used to run a lot of leagues out here, and he's just a individual that said, "Hey, you know what? I want to donate and help out your tournament." So he threw some money at us.
Wow, that's amazing.
As well as one of our ongoing sponsors, Chuck Lucas with Chuck's Painting. Rob probably saw the pictures of my garage. He does epoxy and everything. I mean, he does a phenomenal job. Made my garage look like a showroom. And then also Nick Cienciola with Ramsey Auto Center. So he just took over that shop, and so he's trying to help get his name out a little bit more.
And these folks, these local folks that have sponsored the event, are most of them bowlers or no?
Yeah, all of them are bowlers.
Okay, all right, that's awesome, man. That's great. I mean, whether they are or they aren't, still great. But yeah, no, that's tremendous that you guys have people in the community out there that will really support things.
Yeah, one more sponsor, Ryan Riley. I forgot that he just recently. He gives me a hard time all the time, so it's fine. Ryan Riley with 10 Back Pro Shop. So
okay, so you got some pro shop sponsorship there too. That always helps.
If you're in the area, if you live around here, if you're in the Arizona area, support these businesses. Honestly, especially the bowling community. The bowling community needs to.
If something sponsors bowling, I go out of my way to support it. Especially if it's local.
Eventually, when I buy a house, I need it painted. I know who's going to go paint my house.
Yeah,
I know a car. I mean, that's how it goes. The bowling community needs to support sponsors who are supporting scratch competitive bowling at this level.
When you go to buy the house, you have a realtor.
I do.
Use the realtor that sponsored the tournament. I mean, no, it is. It's important to have that. And listen, I want to say this because I know people listen to this show that matter in the bowling community. The ball companies, honestly, they need to support people like Theo and Greg Tack. They do. When they know an event like this is going on that's being organized on a local basis and has some sponsorship, et cetera, or a tournament series even, maybe not an event that's paying $10,000 for first. You don't really need it if you're paying $10,000 for first. But in a more monthly event or something, it would always be helpful for these guys to get a bowling ball or two and be able to raffle it off. And
Adam Ishman with Brunswick actually supports the club. So
good. I'm glad to hear that. I know Ishman from back in the day. Actually,
Ishman's a good dude. I like Ish.
He's
a good guy.
he's an East Coast
Dude,
Penn State guy, I believe, like
I've-
Pennsylvania guy.
Ishman's a good friend of mine. I worked for K&K for a while, right? Ishman was my guy. I've been trying to get him on the show because he's got some stories himself from being on the road and being in the bowling world as long as he has. So Ishman's a great guy. He supports bowling. The companies do, but yeah, I think Mike, you're right, because I know, like, for instance, the Tat, I know Storm is behind the Tat, right? And they run once a year. I could see, or 3 times a year now, I could see the bowling ball company jumping on a Theo, especially doing a new event like this and paying out $10K. The bowling companies now might take a little bit more notice to Theo, saying, "Hey, this guy's now starting to run some real serious tournaments." So, hopefully some people in the bowling ball company community hear the show, which I know a lot of them do listen to, and maybe could help Theo with another sponsorship would be amazing.
That'd be awesome.
No doubt.
And we do have room still, so if anybody wants to sign up, just shoot me a message.
Yeah, come on, get rid of the house shit. Come bowl with the big boys, people. Let's go. 12:30 p.m. Come on my squad. Get on my pair if you want to. Let's go side action.
People don't want to bowl on the tough shit, man. It's sad. It's a sad state of affairs. It is. It's a sad state of affairs in bowling right now.
It is.
I'm left-handed, and I want the hard stuff.
Yeah, I hear you. I just wish that there were more people who had your viewpoint. There's not enough of them. But Theo, thanks for the time, man. It was nice to meet you.
Theo, we appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. I'll see you in Vegas, Rob.
Oh, you're bowling the Tat?
I'm dusting off the shoes once again.
Oh, man. Dude, come on. Let's go. Amateur division. All right, Theo. We appreciate it. I'll see you next weekend.
Appreciate you.
Cortez Schenk won that event over the weekend, right?
Did. Yo, that kid, I mean,
isn't he from that area? He's from the Arizona area, isn't he?
Yeah, he works at B3. Him and Wesley work there. He actually bowls the complete bowling events too when he's able to. Dude, I've crossed again next to him. That kid is a player. He is a good bowler, that kid. Obviously he has to be. He's made a show before, right?
I know he's a great player. I've heard his name for like a decade already. But I have to say that, he's like 20 something, I believe. I've been hearing his name for a while though. And, I wonder, why have we not heard his name on tour more? Like, does he have something else going on that he hasn't been out there bowling on a more regular? Because, Rob, there's a lot of young kids, young guys. I mean, look at the kid, Eric Jones, this past weekend. He was one game away from winning the Super Regional in 10 grand, and he's only 17. So, I don't know. When I see these younger guys today, whose name I've heard for 10 years through the Junior Gold and this and that, I just always think to myself, why haven't we seen a kid like that, bowling on tour, winning, making a show, maybe winning,
making shows on tour? So I think that's where people don't, like Mike just commented. He's won 2 regionals, made the shows to the players. Yeah, there's no doubt. I think Mike's more alluding to the major PBA shows. The tour shows. Look,
and really the regularity. The regularity is what I'm referring to. I know he's had an event here, an event there, no question. I'm saying why as such a young talented player who's been talented for that long, I kind of expect to see him more regularly and haven't. That's the only reason I ask. But whenever he makes the decision personally to do it more regularly, let me be clear. I totally expect to see him to be like one of those guys that's a factor all the time.
Oh, he's going to be one of those guys, trust me, where all of a sudden it's going to be like where he come from, honestly. He's that good.
Jimmy's going off on one tonight.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Jimmy's off on one
today.
Jimmy's on one today. I love that his last name sounds just like getting stabbed in prison. I guess that's a great bowling nickname, I guess, if you're going to have one.
It is, hey, Cortez going to get shanked. That's what I would call myself.
Yeah.
But anyway, Cortez is going to be there. Trust me. It's all of a sudden, it's going to be oh shit, show, close to show, right? but like it shows you how good these guys are now that are making shows. Guys like EJ Tackett and Simonson and Belmo, and think about all the consistent names you see on the shows all the time, right? Those guys are just so good that an amazing player like Cortez even has a hard time like making shows on the national tour. Wesley Lowe, right? He's another one I eventually we're going to start seeing more of. Good friend of mine, drills my stuff, right? But it just shows you how good these guys are that are out there making shows consistently. It's not easy to be successful on the PBA tour. It's not, honestly.
No, but yeah, like I said though, I've heard his name so consistently at every level over the years. Like, I
look out, Tim!
expect him to have success.
Yo, Tim Ward, great friend of mine. Actually met Tim during our sport league at Lake Forest, and he knows how hard the sport shots are. And he's one of those guys that tried to bowl the sport shots and was like, "Oh, this is not easy." I'm like, "Dude, trust me." I know, man. I know.
Rob, it happened to me Tuesday night. I went over to the center where I bowl my winter league, or have bowled my winter league the last few years, and the center was nice enough to put the 3 patterns out that we were going to use for the league this year. So me and one more guy went out. I was just throwing a couple shots, just kind of seeing what the pattern, if it was what we expected it to be. And there was this young guy next to me. And he was, bowling two-handed, had a couple balls on the rack, and he was shooting like a 220 game. And, I noticed like he was kind of looking at what we were doing, looking at us throw the ball. And, we were struggling. We were missing the head pin. We were throwing shots all over the place. Okay. And at one point he came over and was like, "Oh, like, what are you guys bowling on? It doesn't look like you're bowling on the same lanes as me." And I was like, "No, we're bowling on, what's called a sport pattern." And he's like, "Oh, is that sort of what like the pros bowl on?" I said, "Yeah, well, this is maybe a step below what they bowl on, but yes, you got the idea." And, he came over. He was like, "Oh, I've always wanted to try that. I've heard about it, but I've never tried it." I said, "Come on over. Throw as many shots as you want. This is a short, medium, long." We talked a little bit. He threw a few series of shots, maybe about a game and a half worth of shots. And he was like, "Oh, man, like, this is so much harder. This is not easy. I want to do this on a regular basis. You said there's a league where I could do this." So, yeah, like, I think the real problem with that particular issue is it's the bowlers who have bowled on the easy stuff for so long that they really believe that they're as good as the easy stuff has told them they are. But anybody who really doesn't believe that they're as good as the easy stuff has told them they are has no problem going out and bowling on the tougher stuff, because you understand that it's that hard. So.
I do think that I'm going to be optimistic here, because I do think, and I know Phil Placco's in the chat and he's very involved with youth bowling. I do think the youth bowlers today are a lot more intelligent and smarter to the sport and the house side of things. I do think that the youth today that are bowling understand that philosophy, that there's sport bowling and it's harder, and there's the patterns and they're harder than maybe when we were younger. And, they were easy mostly anywhere you went when we grew up. The only thing that was really hard when we grew up is when the fact that the bowling center themselves was hard. And that's what really like made the lanes hard. It wasn't that they were putting out patterns. It was that
it was hard by natural selection. Yeah.
By natural selection.
And listen,
beat up wood lanes.
I wasn't going to highlight this too much, because like I'm not, I don't want to put people's business out there and whatnot. But
yeah,
Rob, for the first time ever on our show last week, in your final thoughts segment, you mentioned Bella Love Castillo, right? The two-handed girl that you saw, right? And who won the PBA thing down south. And you were commenting on, how well you think she threw it, and, the kind of gave your thoughts on that. Well, guess who reached out to us throughout the week? Her dad did, through email, okay? And one of the things he said in his email is that she mainly only bowls on sport shots. That's it. I mean, listen, say what you want, but once you learn the game in that environment, you've really learned the game to a high level. If you haven't learned the game in that environment, I don't care what your average or accomplishments is. You could have 5,300s and 5,800s on the easy stuff. You really haven't mastered anything about the game. Yeah, you really
And I
haven't
think Junior
mastered that
Gold.
much about it. It's
And
like
look, I'm
dunking
gonna
on a
give
5-foot net.
And I'm going to give props, and I know you're not a big fan of the Junior Gold circuit, but I will give props to Junior Gold on that aspect of it. Is Junior Gold, yes, it's going to get kids discouraged in a lot of it, but it is a brutal wake-up call that you got to be blowing on this shit all year in order to have any kind of smell and chance to be successful out there.
Yeah, that
You know what I
aspect
mean?
of it, I have no problem with. I just don't think
You know?
everybody should get invited to the
Well,
tournament
they
of
shouldn't.
champions,
There should
etc.
be
I mean, we
stricter
talked about it.
qualifications, but we get on that. But
All
on
right,
more of
we
a-
got to
oh,
move
yeah,
on. We got to
gotta
move on. We're getting off the rails here.
I
All
love
right, Rob,
talking bowling, though, Mike. I love talking bowling. We can talk all night.
I hope whoever has stuck around to this point and is here. I know a lot of people probably pop in and pop out to our show, but if you stuck around and you're here right now, you're in for a treat of a conversation.
This is good.
I'm not even sure how to go about it here. So I'm just gonna be as general as I can. Rob and I we always have an ear to the street, right, Rob?
Always.
I don't think it's a
people,
surprise to people if we say we're somewhat connected in the bowling world. No.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I would say so.
And at times, things come across our purview.
Little birdies come talk, come chirp to us.
The streets get to talking at times, and this was the situation between last week's show and this week's show that we're hearing some rumblings. We're hearing some rumblings out of the PBA players in terms of the scheduling department. Okay, for the PBA Tour. Now, Rob, you and I have talked about this in the past, how since Bolero has taken over, it really seems that the PBA Tour has done their scheduling very late, right? Like the tour is really supposed to start in January. There's nothing even out yet in terms of what it's going to be or what the schedule is going to be or what events are going to run. And you're talking about guys who have to, rearrange their lives pretty much to be able to come over and do what they do for these extended amounts of time or travel the way that they do. So no schedule out yet, but we're hearing that there might be some major changes to the PBA schedule this year. Or maybe I should rephrase that as to say that Bolero and the PBA are considering some major changes to the PBA schedule this year. And one of the major changes that has been mentioned.
Oh God, I don't want to even. I kind of want to walk away when you talk about this.
One of the major changes that has been mentioned, or that we have heard mentioned, that Rob and I have heard mentioned, is that the PBA is considered, and again, this is just
rumor,
conversation. This is speculation. This is conversation. So do not quote me on this. Do not say that this is an official report in some way. But what we have heard is that Bolero and the PBA are actually thinking about getting rid of a number of events, and reworking the PBA Tour schedule to make the PBA League a much more featured product of the PBA Tour. Now, there weren't many details that came across Rob and I's purview in this regard. But one thing that I think I could feel comfortable saying is that we might be looking at a situation where it's only the major tournaments mixed with some sort of extended PBA League competition.
That's it.
Okay. I don't know. I'm saying that's the way I would generalize what I've heard.
So essentially, what rumor is that they might get rid of the PBA playoffs. Any of the strike, obviously the flow bowling events won't be around.
I didn't speak to specifics. Neither of us spoke to specifics in anything that we heard, but that particular event is not something that I heard come up. Okay. Charlie Tapp in the chat saying that was a conversation piece on the 50 tour as well. Okay, so kind of confirming a little bit of what we're saying here. Jimmy from the Ring 10, so saying less money. I don't know. That's actually one of the questions that I asked someone that I spoke to on this, Jimmy. I said, listen, I don't have much of a problem with that idea. I'll be honest. If and only if real serious money is then invested in that PBA league. And basically by making a PBA league team, a guy is guaranteed to make a good yearly salary out on the PBA tour. Even if that means you have to pay different guys different slot numbers based on where they're picked or something of that nature, I really don't have much of an issue with that.
This isn't going to fly well. If this is the case where they do it, like we're speculating here, right? If there's speculation and then, you're saying what they do is they only go to the majors in the league, right? This is going to not sit well with a lot of the bowlers.
Listen, you're alienating all the bowlers here.
All the bowlers.
Because the Belmos and the Simos and the Tackets of the tour aren't going to be happy with this. Aren't going to be happy with a change like this. How could they be happy with a change like this? They're already making more money than the other guys, winning more titles than the other guys, right? Then on the other side, the guys who are, sort of the middle of the pack guys or the bottom of the pack guys, they're likely not going to like this because they're the guys that might not get picked for a league team. And then where does that leave them? Where does that leave them in terms of their ball contract? I mean, if you're only bowling a couple events a year because you didn't get picked for a league team, I don't know.
I hope the speculation, in my opinion, it's false. I hope that they continue to run, tournaments like the World Series and the PBA playoffs. And I think the schedule has been really good the way it's been. I mean, there's been a lot of bowling, normally more bowling than we're used to. Now, look, when you have Bolero running things, like anything is possible, right? Because when you deal with corporate America and you deal with a big, billion-dollar company like Bolero or whatever, how much money they're worth, I don't want to get through. But they're a big company, right? They're publicly traded. They make decisions based on, guess what, Mike? On the mighty dollar. And I've been in corporate America my whole life. I mean, I've been
and you're right. Listen, it's been a few years now. Let's not forget that. Let's not forget that Bolero, we'll get to that in a minute. Put that comment down. We'll bring it back up. Whoever that Facebook user is, that anonymous post, listen, we talked about the same thing behind the scenes. So we'll talk about that in a minute. But Rob, I forget what I was going to say.
Corporate America.
Yes. America. It's been a few years now. That Bolero has owned the tour. Keep in mind, they bought the tour before the pandemic hit. Okay, I think it was like that August or September because it was when the league bowler thing was at Bolero Carolier and Simonson won, right? So I remember that pretty distinctly. They had bought it just around that time. They've had a chance now to see what the bottom line is with this operation and what it's bringing to their company as a whole. So if it does go down this road, I agree with you that it's probably an indication that Bolero is trying to minimize the bottom line impact of the PBA on Bolero. Now one other thing that I have heard rumblings of is that there's sort of a lack of direction or leadership, I guess you would say, decision making on Bolero's part when it comes to the PBA Tour. Keep in mind, Rob, say what you want about Coley, right? We weren't fans of Coley on this particular show. However, being that she was the PBA of the CEO of the PBA Tour, okay, and she was running that, and she also had an executive position within Bolero, I'm sure that her decision-making capability was probably greater than whoever it is that took over for her and is the liaison between the tour and Bolero now. So I have heard some comments about that from players about how it seems like there's a little bit less easy change of direction or even direction in general, being that there's not that strong person from Bolero's executive team still directly involved with the PBA Tour.
Yeah, and Yeah, like you said, I mean, we did have a lot of, criticism with Coley, but, Coley was making decisions and high level decisions at Bolero on the PBA's behalf. Now that Coley's gone, who's the person doing that? God only knows. Bolero now has 2 years of financials to go over, right? We are in a recession technically, right? The economy isn't great right now. My company did layoffs. I know a lot of companies have been doing layoffs. So honestly, it wouldn't surprise me to see them cut out a lot of the tour events next year. Be it that maybe they need to financially, make some quick decisions to, get their bottom line to be better for the stockholders and, the executive boards, right? Because that's what companies do, right? They make decisions based on the stock price. They make money based on a lot of financial stuff that might, not really take into consideration a PBA tour, or who cares about the PBA tour, right? If it's, sucking up, dollars, then they might decide. But hey, like, I hope that's not the case. I really hope that they continue with the schedule or add events, because that's what we're always asking for, more events. We want more, Mike, more.
Jimmy's hitting all the right notes here in the chat. First, he says, "Can't imagine Tom Clark signing off on this scheme." But
Tom
let me
Clark
add,
has no
let me,
power.
yeah. I was gonna say the same thing. Like, Jimmy, do you think that matters? Do you think that matters? I mean, they would quickly push him out of the way if he has a problem with anything. So really, like, what position is he in to tell them, oh, it should or it shouldn't be? If he doesn't rubber stamp approve it, he could be the one out the door. Okay. And then he also says, how sad is it that we don't know who that person is? And that by that person, he's talking about who's the liaison between Bolero and the PBA Tour, right? Because it's not Tom Clark. He's not an employee of Bolero from speaking from a nature of where we came from. Okay. So who is that person? And we don't know. You're right, Jimmy. And this is a professional sports organization, and we don't know that. We don't even know who that is. Let's see. Kevin says, Mike, how is the PBA Tour shaping up then? Just the majors and a stop or two centered around the PBA League? That I don't have an answer for. That I can't tell you, Kevin. I honestly, I don't even think any of the players know exactly what it would look like.
Speculation.
I think that this is something that's like, oh, let's spitball ideas and see what we come up with type deal, right? So who knows where it goes? But what I am saying is that we've definitely heard rumblings that these conversations or these possibilities are out there. So Rob, somebody in the chat mentioned it, and I said we would put it on the back burner and discuss it here. Is the ultimate solution here that there's going to have to be more than one professional bowling organization?
Ooh.
Or
I mean,
let me rephrase that. More than one outlet that runs high-level events geared toward professional bowlers.
I don't think it would hurt. You know what I mean? Because the PBA bowlers would bowl probably both tours if it made sense. They want to bowl.
Let's be clear. PBA bowlers will show up and bowl anything that has serious money in it. Then you let them bowl. Okay, right. You put up $50,000 for first, and you guarantee it. No matter how many people show up, you're paying $50,000 for first. I promise you, the same list of guys that you see on tour every week, you will see at that event. The problem in the bowling community, the reason you don't see that more often is because either they're not allowed to bowl, right, or the person says, "Oh yeah, it's $50,000 for first, guaranteed, based on 400 entries,"
right,
and you're not going to get more than 100. So yeah, it's going to be $5,000, and no one's going to travel all over the place and book room for that. So, but yeah, Rob, I agree. If you put it out there, they will show up.
They'll show up. It's a matter of finding a financial backer, right, or backers or sponsors, right? Right, exactly, Jimmy. If somebody could fund it or put the money up, great. But also there's more to it than just the money aspect of it, Mike. Running an entertaining product where people, watch and come out and get behind, right? And, maybe they come up with some kind of like live streaming deal, or maybe a sports network channel that they could put on TV. But ultimately, if the people show up, and there's talk behind it, there's going to be, sponsors will come if the viewership's there and the people are talking about it and they're showing up. So yes, like I think a tour would be great, another tour, right? But is that a pipe dream? Yeah, I kind of think a little bit.
Really, you think it's a pipe dream? I don't. I think it's easy.
How?
I honestly think it's easy. I think.
All right, let's hear it.
Because like you just said, all you do is put up the money, and these guys are going to show up and bowl. So
yeah, but it's consistently being able to do that for 15 stops.
You're right.
20
yes, for 10, 15 events a year. But you find the right sponsors. You get the right people involved. And today, I mean, geez, I feel like it's almost easier to raise money to do things today than ever. Because you have access to so many people online.
But you make it sound so easy to get the right sponsors. Like it can't be.
No,
that
it's
easy.
not. But listen, I'm not talking about me and you. I'm talking about somebody like Mookie Betts. Okay, like you think it would be hard for somebody like Mookie Betts to find a few sponsors to run 10 events that all said and done, everything is probably going to cost $1 million. No, honestly, I think that's a drop in the bucket to people like him and people that have access to those kinds of sponsors and are at that level. Clearly the PBA has never broken through that level. You would think Bolero would have access to that because they're a $1 billion company. So you would think that they would have a relationship with a company like Coca-Cola or even a Pabst Blue Ribbon, right, that's featured in their centers, and say, hey, we need $1 million to do this pro tour thing. Are you behind it? And I don't know what, we never know what the sponsorship numbers are between the sponsors that they've had over the last few years, like Kia, who someone mentioned, or like Pabst. But I wouldn't imagine it's to that level. But that's kind of the level that if you can get it to that level, then yeah, it's easy. Then it's like you have the funds you need, go run it. And I think to certain people in the bowling world, that's probably not that far-fetched, and it's not a pipe dream. Maybe to somebody like me or you it is. I mean, me or you don't have a lot of connections to go out and find somebody who can put up $1 million to run a competing PBA tour. But I don't think it's as hard as you're making it out to be.
Yeah, I just think it's the more of the longevity of it I think about. Like, you don't want it to be the XFL, right, where you just run it for 1 year and then it just kind of collapses. Like you want to find longevity. You want to find a product that people are going to, want to watch. And the bowling has a lot of entertaining aspects to it, right? It's a great game, but there's also got to be some kind of entertainment factor to it. And, I'm big on the entertainment factor. If you get the viewerships and you get, viral videos to, people to, I mean, you could get quick viewership and quick talk, especially the way today's age with the social media is. If something, you need a personality, really, is what you need. Someone that's going to, go viral and people are going to want to watch. And look, like, I mean, yeah,
see,
I think it's doable.
I think that's the point. If you do your own thing, then you get to execute your own vision of that.
100%. Mike, just give me $10 million right now. Let's put on the
$10 million
tour.
$10 million. You're wild.
Make it
$10
big.
million. How about
all
$1
I'm saying
million?
Is, okay, give us $1 million. Let me and you take over, sweep the rack bowling tour, right? And we'll do it the right way. Honestly, I think between me and you and our connections and our people we know, I think we would be able to run a very successful professional tour. Honestly, like it would be awesome. And the first thing, where my first call would be to DraftKings. That would be my first phone call, Mike, to DraftKings.
Or people be surprised to hear me say this, or Barstool Sportsbook, or
whatever.
FanDuel, or WinBet, or 100%. Caesar Sportsbook, or MGM. What? Whoever wants to get behind us. Whoever wants to get, because one of those is going to say yes. They're going to want to get behind it and use it as something that they can try out, and that's what I'm saying. Like, with all these ads you see for these gambling companies, you're telling me that it's that hard for an organization like the PBA, who gets decent ratings at times, to go out and get $1 million from a DraftKings or a FanDuel?
Mike,
I'm sorry, bro.
DraftKings,
Like I just don't think that's that much of the case.
Mike, DraftKings and FanDuel would be like the perfect like flagship sponsor for the PBA tour, honestly. Like, besides them having the outlet to take bets live, right, and do the betting live,
Yeah,
like
because what they need is they need somebody like us, like an informed bowler,
sure,
to sit down with them and say, no, listen, here's what you're not seeing. What you're not seeing is that this is the perfect sport for in-game betting, because you have time between shots. There's so many different things to bet on. Is the guy going to strike? Is he not? Is he going to make the spare? Is he not? How many in a row will he throw? I mean, there's just endless bets that you could do. And that's what bettors want. It's also a quick show. It's only a 90-minute show. So, like, they're in and they're out. They don't have to invest a lot of time into it. So, yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I guess you could be right, and it could be like a pipe dream type thing. But I really don't think that it can be all that hard to secure that kind of money to run something as a competing product to the tour.
So do you know who could who could probably make something like that happen? Is somebody like a Sean Rash or a Tommy Jones, right? Well, Tommy Jones.
No, it won't be them. It'll be.
Well, I'm telling you. Let me finish.
It'll be their connection.
Connections. That's what I'm saying.
It'll be their connection.
You didn't let me
to
finish.
someone
You didn't let me
can
finish.
Get it.
Yes. So what you do is you have Sean Rash, who is really good friends with who's the race car driver that loves bowling? Tony Stewart to get with Mookie Betts, right? You get them together and you guys say, hey, this is what we need to do. Let's combine our resources to create a tour. And we're the bowlers. We can inform you on the bowling aspect of it. You hook up with the sponsors and let's make it happen. And I think you're right, Mike. I mean, it just takes the right people to want to get involved and not be afraid to maybe throw around some money, on it. But I think we're onto something,
we'll see. We have to see what the developments are with the schedule for this year. So
we'll streaming too. There hasn't been even any talk of where the stream is going.
Listen, if you're a bowling fan, get ready for the least amount of coverage that we've had in years.
Okay.
That's what
maybe we'll have to create coverage.
In fact, if the finals are televised, they might not even broadcast anything.
It might just be the finals, like old school, the old times, going back to the 1980s when you read the results in the newspaper. Remember? You go to the Saturday newspaper to find out who was bowling on TV.
Nico saying he thinks it's possible that the PBA next season streams only match play in the non-majors. I think, Nico, it might be only match play in the majors, two of which are run by the USBC, so it would be on Bowl TV, right? And then the other two, I could picture the PBA streaming the match play. But, Nico, they're not even really streaming the match play right now. The only thing they're doing for the events they're running right now is streaming the finals. So if the finals are already on TV, do you think they're going to be streaming anything previous to the finals? I don't think so. Listen, Phil Brylow, and shout to Phil Brylow. Let me be clear. Shout to Phil Brylow. He has filled a gap right now since Flow Bowling is out and the PBA doesn't really know what direction they're going in with their streaming. And I feel like he's been a big part of why we've even gotten to see the finals of these super regionals this summer, because I'm sure there's not many people out there. And we talked to Mike Flanagan. We know there's not many people out there that are available to even do this stuff. But listen, Phil Brylow right now is running a GoFundMe. If anybody wants to go and check it out and support it, you can look up his Facebook to try and go and live stream Parker Bones Scholarship Tournament. Now, I know it's a scholarship tournament. I'm not even talking about that. I'm not getting into that. But here's my point, okay? Is that where we're at with the bowling streamers? Like, is that how little support they have that they have to turn to GoFundMe to try and do what they need to do, right? And like, does that? And I'm just saying, is that reflective of like the type of support that the PBA is giving these guys? Okay, so I don't know. My hopes are not up for this season. And Rob, I'm somebody that watches like a ridiculous amount of bowling. So yeah, it's gonna suck. It's gonna suck.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. There'll be more from us. By the way, all speculation. So not on the record on this. This is just all rumblings. And I have to say it again because people are going to be on Facebook going, oh, Sweep the Rack broke news. No, we didn't. We didn't break anything.
Nico's saying if they don't stream, people are going to lose their mind.
His mind.
But are they? I mean, it's only going to be people like me and you, Nico. It's not going to be everybody because a lot of people, they weren't paying for it anyway. They weren't paying to watch it anyway, so they didn't even know it was streaming. They don't even know when it's on. I don't even know when it's on a lot of the time right now. Mike Wolf pointing out, I think in response to somebody's comment up top, that yes, the ball companies already do pay a fee to the PBA, and they don't get much back for it. Okay, so
anyway, Mike,
we're just speculating here. We're just speculating here.
You ready for that? You ready to move on to the best time of the night?
Well, we have a couple other things to get to. Just quickly.
OT. Okay.
I know, quickly here. No, I cannot log off tonight without recognizing that Tim Foy won the Super Regional over the weekend. So shout to Tim Foy on that win. He's an Eastern Region guy. He's somebody that I see at a Greg Tack event once in a while. Somebody who I've seen over the recent history of his bowling improve greatly. He's been bowling tour events for a minute, and at first, he wasn't having much success out there. So to see him get to that level is great. He beat Eric Jones, 17-year-old, finished second in this Super Regional, Rob. Pretty impressive. On his way to the finals, Eric Jones beat two players. So it's not like he got out there and didn't perform. He actually bowled a really good game. But yeah, Tim Foy was able to get it done. It was an excellent game that he bowled. I mean, he almost didn't miss the entire game. So 10,000 for him plus the regional title. It's a shame it's not a national title. I feel like it should be recognized on a little bit higher of a plane than a regional title. But shout to Tim Foy on the win. I actually got to catch the step ladder. It was a pretty good step ladder. If anybody wants to go back and check it out. Anthony Nyer was in it.
Urethane is just
yeah, it was all urethane. It was all urethane. Everybody was using a purple hammer. So Rob was very upset about that. But there were two lefties and two righties, I believe, in the top four. So yeah, it was an interesting step ladder. Anthony Nyer was in there. I like watching him bowl. He brings the fire a little bit. So if you didn't check that out, you can definitely go to the PBA's YouTube page and check it out.
The chat room was on fire.
We had a
good time on the chat.
Yeah, Sweep the Rack took it over. Team USA, shout to Team USA this week, competing in, I think, qualifying for the Pan Am Games. Yeah. So you got AJ Johnson and Chris Prather down there. I saw that they won gold and bronze in singles today. I know they won gold in doubles the other day. And then you got Shannon O'Keefe and Brianna Cote. And yeah, I know that they won. I think Brianna won gold singles today. And I believe they won gold doubles the other day.
Yeah, she bowled 299 this morning. I saw a highlight. I don't even know who they bowled against, like Costa Rica and Brazil, and I don't even know some of the countries they're bowling against, Mike.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the highest level of competition in terms of these world events, but listen, it's always nice to see Team USA go out and assert their dominance over the bowling world. Even if it means that the competition perhaps wasn't at the super highest level, but still nice to see those guys go out and perform. So just wanted to shout them out. Just wanted to give them a shout. All right, Rob, let's give the people what they want, son. Nico's saying Canada's there. Is Canada there? Did you see Canada, Rob? That wasn't one of the countries you said was there.
I'm just looking at some of the finalists. They might be. I mean,
Okay.
You know, I saw. By the way, I saw Dan McClellan bowling a tournament the other day. Speaking of Canada, good to see him. I'd like to see him get back on tour. I mean, I know it's not going to happen, but man, that kid was good.
Those
I don't
are
think
good.
anyone ever realized how good he was. Yeah. Anyway, worst of the week, Mike. I'm going to go in my worst of the week because this isn't essentially a post by any individual. This is a post of me going on a rant, which I sent the tweet out last night, which seemed I didn't think it was going to get as much activity as it did. But Mike, I'm going to vent for like 2 minutes. Bowling ball companies, and I'm not going to specifically say which one, but we could all figure out which bowling ball company or companies. Stop with the releases, the re-releases of the classics that we grew up with. Stop it. The releases of the Power Torques and the Kudasees and all of the classic balls that me and you loved growing up as a kid and juniors and, bowling as a young adult, that we have so much nostalgia on these balls, right? Remember the best times with these bowling balls. I feel like the bowling ball company is using.
And now we have money.
Now we have money, so they
now
know
we have
that,
money, and they
right?
know that. So they know that we couldn't afford all these balls back in the day, but now we can.
Here is where my biggest problem is.
It's what Jordan does. It's what Jordan Sneakers does. They know I couldn't afford those fours back in the day, so they re-release them now when I have money and can buy them.
Of course. But here's my problem is the fact that the bowling ball companies know this, and it's an obvious marketing strategy to direct it to us, like the target audience of the 30 to 40, 45-year-old crowd, right? The 50s, right? That area.
You got to be way older than 30 to be Kudasee.
Yeah.
You got to be probably 30, 36, 37 and up.
Right, and they keep doing it. They keep releasing it. They keep re-releasing. They released the Messenger now, and they released the Power Torque, and they released now the Kudasee, and they just keep re-releasing these brands that we grew up loving, and these balls. And I hate to say it, right, but I don't think their balls are even close to as good as they were when we were they're probably okay. I mean, they look to seem they roll okay, but my biggest problem is that. Come up with something new and come up with something that's, different instead of trying to re-release the old. I feel like they're re-releasing like a vintage movie, and the new movie, when you release it, is just not even close to good as what the original was. I don't know. I just have a problem with that because I feel like the bowling ball companies that kind of know what they're doing, and their marketing team is just going, let's just, put the Cuda because everyone loved it and make or it just kind of rubs me the wrong way. I'm done with my venting, Mike. Worst of the week goes to,
and it's not even the same ball, right?
It's not. No, it's a completely
it's an
updated
version, and and that's the case in all of these. And I don't know.
And I don't want to promote it, but it releases in September, mid-September. They just released it. Actually, my brother Jeff did.
I was going to say he doesn't want to promote it, but his brother did a ball video on it.
He did. It's a good video too. It actually shows it rolling, and I could get a good indicator of how it rolls by his bowling ball review videos, and it looked rolled okay. It didn't really look special to me, but like the original Kudasee was.
Lucas Wiseman, who I know is moved on to bigger and better racing and band type shit. But Lucas Wiseman had some salt for the ball companies on Twitter this week too.
He did.
Yeah, put out a tweet saying
longer and stronger.
He feels like every bowling ball video says ad says the same thing, like longer and stronger, better motion, and it's true. It's very true. And honestly, I don't even think that for years. Yeah, I don't even think that the average bowler can even see the difference, in a slight difference in some of these balls, ball to ball. But yeah, Jeff Fair checking in the chat, saying that the same ball wouldn't hook now. Yeah, no, obviously I've actually seen that, Jeff, where people have pulled out some originals And yeah, they don't work like they used to. I have an original Omega Lion sitting right behind me that I've brought out in the past and try and throw. And yeah,
Look,
the
I'm
balls
not
that
gonna
used to
argue.
hook back in the day do not hook anymore.
No.
But
here's the
here's
thing
where
is,
we
like,
disagree, Jeff. You think it's great marketing. You know, we think it's lame. We think it's lame marketing, whether it
look,
works or it doesn't.
Exactly. That's my point. Is look, Jeff, I'm not going to argue if it's a good marketing scheme, but ultimately it's still a marketing scheme, and that's the reason why it rubs me the wrong way.
Okay, so my worst of the week is pretty simple here. It's from the Hammer Bowling Facebook page. John Shelby, congratulations, John! You won worst of the week. Congrats, huge accomplishment.
Congrats.
Here's the post that won him worst of the week. And actually, not only am I going to give him worst of the week, I'm going to give the 19 people that respond to this post the worst of the week too.
Okay.
So
Perfect.
20 people, 20 people are getting a worst of the week here in one worst of the week. Here's the post that wins you worst of the week, John Shelby. Any recommendations on a spare ball?
Oh my goodness! I saw a post, Mike, last week, or it was like, any, what balls do you use on the fresh house pattern? I was like, any ball you want.
I had so many this week. I saw another one. I saw a lot of people were just saying, "Oh, any plastic ball, any plastic."
And they just keep repeating it. They just keep commenting, right? Like,
I saw one this week about a guy who posted a picture of his Hammer sauce ball, talking about how much he loves it and how much it's done for him. I considered that one. I had another one where a guy posted like a reminder about things to remember as you go back to restart Winter League, which I thought was just ridiculous. One of them was thank the center owner for any upgrades you might notice or pay attention for upgrades or whatever.
Hey, send an email to Bolero Company and thank them for their $8 lineage and their their $18 chicken tenders.
No doubt. All right, give the people what they want, Rob. Hi, Rob.
Yo, this is my guy, man. That's my teammate. Tuesday nights next week, Mike. TQ, man. We're gonna run the gauntlet. They don't even know what's coming. They don't even know what's coming next Tuesday.
TQ, listen, do us a favor, okay? Check back in with us in the chat each week when Rob's giving his league report, so we can verify the accuracy of the detail of his league report.
So what are you trying to say? What are you trying to say, that I'm not? I'm not honest. I lie about stuff. No.
Well, sometimes the number isn't as good as the number is. No.
Let me tell you something. My league report is going to be more of all the stuff going on around us than it is actually me bowling. Nobody's going to want to hear about me bowling on the league house shot, okay? But I'm sure there's going to be plenty of activity because I've already seen a lot of chatter on Facebook. TQ, he's got some
expectations are high. Expectations are high. Oh my goodness!
Hey,
special shout out, Sam Cooley from the Ring and 10. All right, Jimmy.
Hey, all I'm saying is my highest book average on record with 91 games was 241. Just saying. Now, it was an easy shot. Don't get me wrong, 241, but it's still a house shot. And it was only 6 on a pair. 10 on a pair is a little bit more challenging, I think. So I don't expect to average 240. But, hey, if I can get over 230, I'll take it. We'll see, though.
So Nico in the chat saying that Jimmy's referring to Sam Cooley winning the Bud Light Challenge last weekend. I got to be honest, I'm not going to give that great of props to a professional tour bowler for going and bowling an amateur event when there's a $10,000 super regional going on that you should probably be at. Hey, nice win, but the $10,000 super regional was in Virginia.
State Lanes in Saginaw or Bay City, Michigan. I think State Lanes is actually still going on. So it was a Thursday morning league. Brunswick Inferno. Remember that one? The OG Inferno? Man, that ball was good. Yeah. So anyway, he did clear, Jimmy said, 19 grand in 2 weeks. you can't fault him for running with the money, right?
No, not at all. But all right, Rob, you got a final thought here?
Yeah, just excited to start bowling every weekend from here on out. I'm starting league next Tuesday. I'm bowling on the weekends. Yeah, I mean, just it's fun for me to be able to go and compete and physically feel good. And yeah, mentally I'm in a good spot. So we'll see what happens. Other than that, Mike, next week
My final
school.
thought's going to be a little bit deep here. I kind of been on this bandwagon for a week or two, but I'm going to say it again. I'm really aggravated. I am. I'm aggravated with the bowling community in general. I'm aggravated that my sport league is experiencing so much trouble.
Salty about it.
I am. I'm very salty about it. And you know what I'm salty about this week, Rob? I'm salty at the industry in general for validating what we all know is a watered down version of the game. You know, maybe if like this throughout this week, and I'm serious about this, throughout this week, I saw probably a dozen plus social media posts about big series people have shot this week. Okay. And a lot of them are from the ball companies themselves. You know, and listen, I understand. I get it that they're trying to promote their product. But I just think that it would be much better for the game if instead of doing so much promoting of the amplified scores, if they found a way to promote scores bowled on something, more serious or more challenging. And maybe when someone hits them up with an 800, 820 series on a house shot, maybe they tell them, hey, listen, you know what? That's good bowling. We're not going to feature that. We're looking for stuff more on like sport conditions, tournaments, things like that. Not your average house series because that happens on a super regular basis. An every week basis, every league basis. Okay, and yeah, it just really frustrates me. It frustrates me that the whole industry, really, in an effort just to make money, just continuously props up this watered down version of the game. At some point, the people inside the industry have to start calling it for what it is and have to start encouraging people to move to the other side of the sport. Even if they don't call it out for what it is, they have to encourage people to move to the other side of the sport. And that's it. Patrick in the chat saying, I'm going to take up cornhole or golf. Patrick, I swear to God, I was driving by a local golf course this week, and I thought, you know what? Maybe I should take up golf. Maybe I should start golfing again. Because, hey, listen, that's a real sport that's, it's hard for everyone. There's no fake version of it. If you want to get good, you got to work at it. But, here's the problem with that, Patrick. I love bowling. I love this sport. I've grown up playing this sport. It's been a part of my life for a long time. So tough for me to do that. But, finding the outlets to bowl regularly on sport competition, becomes harder and harder. And let me say this. I should mention this because I'm probably being disingenuous by not saying this. There is another sport league that's actually a closer commute to my house. But it's on Monday nights, and it's a late starting league. And my Monday night happens to be the night where I'm most busy with my kids. My daughter has soccer practice until 8 o'clock. And it's just very unlikely that I would be able to fit everything in, plus get to this bowling league to bowl, not to mention being out super late on a Monday night. And now I'm going to be, exhausted for the rest of the week. So, if I could bowl on a Tuesday and get done a little bit earlier, be home a little bit earlier, not the worst thing in the world. But, we'll see how things go. So, Rob, pleasure as always, bro. Always. Good luck this weekend. You bowling this weekend? You're bowling this weekend, yes?
Yeah, the Arizona State Masters is Sunday.
All right, yeah. Good luck. Hit us up on Twitter. Let us know. People should follow us up. People should hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, please.
Yeah, just even if you don't listen to us on YouTube, just subscribe.
Hit the subscribe button for us. We would appreciate that. Good luck. Keep us up on Twitter. Follow us on Twitter, especially if you want to see how Rob bowls this weekend. He's at Brooklyn Rob 11. I'm at the 215th on Twitter. That's usually where we're having our conversations at. Feel free to email us, sweeptherack@gmail. If you want to sweep the rack, you want to purchase a Sweep the Rack rosin bag, worst of the week rosin bag, hit us up. We got a new stock of rosin bags, so hit us up on that. And like Jimmy said in the chat, smash that subscribe button, please. We appreciate it. Rob, good luck this weekend. Have a good week.
Thanks, you too, man.
All right, later.
Later.
You are now listening to Sweep the Rack podcast featuring Brooklyn Rob and Big Mike.